Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to Fogel's Fantasy. I am your host, Chef Doughboy, and today we have Caden with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome. So before we started the podcast, we were talking about different styles of animation and different things that we could do with pretty much videos, podcasts, and hopefully what we could try to evolve this channel into something more than what it already is. Now, I was thinking about trying to find either an animator or someone who can help teach me like live wallpaper stuff so that I could have a video for the background. But I don't know, we were talking about other stuff earlier when it comes to like different types of animation and how the if I were to do an animation, what would the animation be? How would it work? What type of cartoon style would it be in? Like, there's a bunch of other questions that I have asked. And I figured out that the art style I want to be is kind of like anime, where like Avatar sits, where it's like based off anime, but it's still
not exactly.
It's not exactly. It's got there's a bunch of key differences that you can tell it's not an anime, but it's got the style.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So that's what I was thinking. And then another thing is, well, my question would be, what would you find more interesting to watch? An animation that continues off of what we're talking about and kind of like the animation itself will describe in better detail what I'm talking about, or what I was thinking is more of like an animation of like a couple of guys like this is my basis idea. A couple of guys sitting on the couch getting stoned, because that's originally what I want this podcast to be. I know it's probably not going to go there, and especially if I want to find viewers, but I don't know. There's a bunch of different things.
I get you there. I think for me personally, I love watching people, not just animators or podcasters, but I love watching people who are so authentically themselves. And so whatever it is they create, it just comes out organically and naturally.
Got it.
My problem is whenever I have made stuff in the past is I overthink it. So something stalls. It's like a traffic jam in your mind where like you have so many ideas that could go in certain places and then they all end up crashing in the middle of the road.
Okay. See, what I think of it more like is you have all these ideas and you're traveling down this little trail, but then the trail I don't think that was the right word, divides itself. And now you have multiple trails and kind of just sit there going, which one should I go down?
Yeah.
And then you never end up going down any.
Yeah, that fucking bums you out.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm at with this as well. I just need that one person to just kick me down a fucking trail and see where I go.
Well, you know, the best thing you can do, at least this is what I've been told by people who know what they're doing. I've done very little. The best thing you can do, from what I've heard, is that you should fail and just work from there. You're okay, that's why that didn't work, and then try again. You'll probably fail multiple times because that's fucking life. But yeah, it will get you to the right path.
That's true. But I don't know. I'm also, like, when it comes to making videos, I've tried starting a channel before. Didn't quite work. I tried doing a gaming channel, which, to my viewers, if you're watching, you'll notice that my channel, well, it might say podcast and stuff, it might say podcast and gaming, depending on when I edited it, but that's because beforehand, I was doing a bunch of live streams on YouTube of different games. Like, we did Fortnite for a little bit, we did some of Warzone, we did some of I didn't do any of Modern Warfare. We did some of Apex, and we did a bunch of different games, but then the one problem I kind of ran into was the only time I stream is when I'm playing with others. But at the same time, that's when they're streaming. And so they're getting all these views and all these viewers and all these people like commenting on their videos, and I'll be playing the exact same game, like literally the same game. The only difference is the perspective. Like you'll just see my person running around instead of theirs. But even then, I wasn't talking much, because we had a group of like 5 people, and it's constant chitter chatter from this person, that person, and I'm not really that loud, so it's kind of hard to talk over people for me.
Right.
And I also think it's a huge thing of disrespect because I always get talked over, so I never want to talk over someone.
Okay. That's kind of interesting that you find podcasting an interesting route, because I think that, to me, that says something about, like, I really want my voice to be heard, but there's been a bunch of past experiences where that's kind of blocked my ability. That was a butchered sentence, but I hope you understood what I said.
It's all right. I understood what you were saying.
Okay.
But yeah, so like I've had 2 channels fail in the past. One time was me and Tanner. We started up a small channel. I'm not gonna say it because I don't know if we'll be taking it down soon or not. But pretty much it was me and him, and we wanted to do a smoking channel. Like, we straight up, like, literally every episode we tried to find different, like, marijuana topics and this and that. But then, I don't know, one day we kind of just stopped. And then both of us were like, well, we want YouTube channels. And I was like, well, why don't we continue what we were doing? And it's like, nah, I want to do this now. And so...
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you guys are 19, 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still on our younger ages.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm only a year older than you guys, really. So I don't know why I
True.
made it sound like I'm that much older.
Well, when I say we,
Mm-hmm.
I mean everyone in my general age.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because, yeah.
I feel like there's a sense of fear that you don't want to stick on the path because you feel like, that was the wrong choice. Just because you're young and you don't... And it's art, you know?
That could be, too, like a subconscious thought that's going through. It's like, oh, this won't work. Clearly no one's watching it. Why should I keep
And
going?
that kind of brings me to a question I had while you were explaining we said 2 channels you had? Mm-hmm. Okay. What was it about it that made you go, this was a failure? Was it was it actually a failure, or is it something that I'm not meeting the expectations that I wanted to meet right now, therefore I find it a failure?
Okay, so with the first one, it was more like we're not quite meeting the expectations we want, so this is ending up a failure. And I don't know, that's kind of how that one turned out. Mm-hmm. And if you pay attention, Tanner's channel is based around our old channel. And so he took most of the name, he took the logo, he took this and he took that. And then so when I wanted to go back to the old channel, I was like, well, I can't use any of this now because he's got it copyrighted. Well,
right.
It's not actually copyrighted, but
he's used. Okay.
Yeah, he's used it more. He's got more viewers. He's much higher on the YouTube scale than where our channel was.
Oh, how many subscribers?
We had like 20, and then he's at 120.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So he's
fair enough.
Yeah, he's got a giant divot, and so it's like I completely understand. I don't want to take the logo, but at the same time, that channel had a bunch of badass things about it. Like, even though we were just high schoolers trying to have fun, it still had a bunch of cool things behind it that I wanted to continue, but I can't because either he took it or it's just doesn't quite fit with what I'm going for.
Fair enough. Is it just the subscribers that you're worried about, or is there something about the content that has changed as well? Like, what are you more focused on, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
So originally, we were just focused on smoking, having a great time.
Right.
Now, I kind of just want to focus on trying to... how do I put this in the right words? I want to widen both my perspective and my viewers' perspective. But at the same time, I don't know if... I don't know if I said that right.
Okay, you want to widen your perspective and also...
The viewers.
Are you trying to elaborate on the term widen? What that supposed to mean? What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I want people to go on this channel and to be like, I have never, ever thought of that or would ever think of that. But now, thanks to you, I'm going to be thinking of that.
Oh, okay.
Like, something kind of like that. But at the same time, I want to be telling the truth so that my information is correct and I'm not just one of those sources out there that's misinforming people.
Okay. Well, what is it that you want to talk about? At least, what do you want to talk about today? What is on your mind, or what do you think it is that we can talk about today?
So So one thing that's been on my mind that we were talking about before the podcast was the medieval theme. I do want to do an episode with a medieval theme. My big problem is I don't know shit about the Middle Ages.
I have no idea either.
The only thing I could tell you are different types of weapons and how brutal they were, because that's what I looked up in high school. They're like, we need you to write a paper. All right, I'm going to write about medieval weapons. All right, we need you to write another paper. All right, we're doing World War II weapons.
World War II weapons.
All right, we need you to write another paper. Civil War weapons. I don't know. I had a fascination with weapons for a while.
Well, that's fair enough.
Actually, I still kind of have that fascination.
Well, high school wasn't that long ago, so I mean, it's not...
True, yeah. But, like, I don't want... When I go to a medieval theme, like, it's going to be medieval themed. I don't want it to be medieval weapons. Just medieval weapons. Like...
Well, you can lay the groundwork there. You can start from medieval weapons, and what is it about the weapons that interests you? And then you can go, how are these used by certain people? Okay. And then you can go from there, I think.
Okay.
That's what I would do, because if there's anything I know, it's how to trail off and go to a different topic, because I didn't focus enough on what we started with.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, who's not good at that, though? Like, that's the real question.
What do you call that, ADD? Or is that...
I don't know.
Okay.
I truly don't know.
Fair enough.
That's another thing when I was a kid. I remember growing up, all these people would be like, yeah, I have ADD, I have ADHD, I have this disability, I have that, this, that. And I'm sitting here like, I've got nothing. And then later growing up, and it's like, bro, you got autism. And it's like, what? And then I had to look up autism. I watched like 3 different videos. And there was one where I was watching with my brother, and he was like, holy shit, that does describe you. Like, he said it described me perfectly. And I was like, now I am so confused at what these other terms mean now. Because originally when I was a kid, I thought autism was just like Down syndrome. I thought it was just like, you're going to be slightly slower, you're going to need help throughout life. But then figuring out that I am autistic, it's like, I have never really needed help in my life. Like, I've wanted help many upon many times, but I've never truly needed it. You know what I'm saying?
I think I do. I have a very, for lack of a better word, minuscule understanding. I have a minimal understanding of the term what it means to be autistic. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually with you there. I only know the version I've got. Like, I don't...
Was this a self-diagnosis, or is this something that you went to the doctor after and then...
Originally, it was a self-diagnosis.
Okay.
But then I did go to a doctor and talk with him. And then he was like, yeah, like, the signs aren't super obvious, but they're clear enough to show that you do have it.
Okay. So you were able to discover that you're on the spectrum to a degree, and then okay.
Yeah, like, I'm not like completely autistic where I can't like understand shit what people saying. Like, if you're joking, I can't understand it, or like that.
Right.
But
it might fly over your head and it might take you a second or something like that. Or...
No, it'll definitely fly over my head. We just gotta hope I have a butterfly net. Like,
fair enough. Okay.
Like, it's definitely going over. Let's just hope I can actually understand it 5 minutes after it's gone over my head. Like, oh, was that a butterfly? Oh, no, that was a bird. Okay. Like, that's what it's kind of like when I'm talking to people.
Right.
Especially when they come up and they'll tell me a joke from, like, 5 minutes ago, and I'll be like, what? And they're like... And then they'll, like, explain
it again, yeah.
And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
And if there's one thing people love, it's explaining jokes.
Right?
Yeah. Goddamn.
But yeah, so I've always found it really hard to, like, communicate with people, or either that or I'll overthink it, and I think some people call that anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can confirm. Yes, that is.
But so, like, I'm a little bit anxious, but the big thing is it's not really that I'm anxious that you won't like me. It's that I'm anxious that I won't understand you.
Yeah, I think I understand that to a greater degree than I think I...
What do you mean, elaborate?
Elaborate? I think... I don't know how to communicate with people very often, especially with this, I tend to like cut myself off, or I slur and I mumble, and so I don't give myself enough time to really say what I want to say. So a lot of times I will use art or just entertainment to kind of talk about what it is that I'm trying to say, because I don't know how to articulate my thoughts in a proper manner.
Got it.
Often I'll hear like a comedy bit, or I'll hear a song or something. I'm like, that pretty much describes what I'm trying to say. So I'll send that to people, not so much to be like, hey, I'm a big fan of this work, but it'll be like,
this is what I meant.
hey, this is kind of how I feel right now, or hey, I think of you when I think, like, this is how I describe our relationship, or an experience we've had, or I've had, you've had, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see, that's kind of where I run into a problem, because where you can like fuck, how do I put this? All right, so like you said that you can get a little artsy, you can like listen to music or find something slightly inspiring to be able to send your message across.
Right. Yeah. I like to think I'm artsy. I just like. I don't know, I get very
everyone's-
lost in the mood, and I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna make something, or I'll listen. I'll be like, all right, I'll take that and I'll use that as a cover to represent. I'll use that as a placeholder until I can actually create something to express myself.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. See, with me, it's like I can't do that. Like I can hear a song and it's like, oh yeah, that's what I'm feeling today. But then it's all like I can talk later, but then I'll want to quote the song.
Mm-hmm.
But then no one will know what I'm talking about, and then they'll just look at me like I'm crazy.
Oh yes, that.
And see, that's another problem.
I identify with that a lot. It's a very sad inside joke that no one understands.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, for a while there was of course, now I can't think of it. No, I had this, like, whenever I was alone and I'd be sitting down here getting ready to watch TV, and I don't know, like, a new season will come out and something will excite me. I always say this weird phrase. I can't think of it now, of course. Total brain fart. But I usually say this, like, 1 or 2 word phrase that I got inspired off a movie, and I always think to myself, if anyone was listening to me right now and they could not they did not know where I got that from, they'll think I'm crazy.
No, yeah, I totally
Like-
get that. Because it was just based off of you. It wasn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, they had no part. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to finish that thought.
Another one for me, like, so I'm a big anime fan. To those of my viewers that watch anime, if you've watched One Piece, which I hope you have, if you haven't, highly encourage. There's this part in the show where the main character Luffy, it's right at the Battle of Marineford, or as they call it, the Battle of the Best.
Okay.
Pretty much where Luffy gets involved in a war that he kind of shouldn't have, but at the same time he has 100% reason to fight in this war, and the whole point is for him to stop his brother's execution. And everyone was trying to get him not to go just because of how deadly it'd be, and he shows up anyways. But so there's this part, either right before or right after, or both, I can't quite remember, but he goes to Amazon Lily, the island where like Wonder Woman is inspired from and shit. He finds that island, the island of all women. And since he has no like sexual thoughts whatsoever, he's like 100% optimistic, that's it. And there's this part where the queen falls in love with him at like first sight, thinking he's hot because it's like the first man she's seen in a while. Or no. She just gets back from murdering a bunch of men. And then
And so
Yeah.
she sees another man, instead of wanting to kill him, she's just horny.
well, so pretty much what happens is he beats up all of her underlings in front of her, but in the nicest way possible. Like there's this part like
He beats up her younglings in the
Underlings.
nicest underlings. Okay, in the
Underlings.
nicest way possible.
in the nicest way, because they're fighting, but he has total respect for his opponent, which if you run into people nowadays, even nowadays, sadly, but you have those people who are sexist and it's all like, oh, you're a woman, you're gonna be weaker than me, and they'll turn their back.
Yeah.
Where the main character Luffy, he treats him as his equal. He fights him as his equal.
Oh.
And so she finds a bunch of respect in that. And then there's this part where one of her underlings has a slave curse on her back, or a slave mark on her back.
Mm-hmm.
And they told the people that it's a curse, and if you look at it, you'll turn to stone. But it's not a curse. It's just a slave mark, but they don't want anyone to know about this.
Okay.
And Luffy doesn't know what it is, but he can tell that they're trying to hide it. And so there's this part where the girl goes to like show off one of her moves, and he takes off her outer jacket, which happens to show her mark because she's in a giant snake form. And so it shows her mark, and he immediately jumps around and covers it.
Oh.
I don't know why I'm getting into so much detail. If you've seen One Piece, you should know what I'm talking about. There's this old lady that is the queen's... The old queen. The old queen. Not the modern queen, but the old one. She constantly says, "No." She doesn't say no. She says, "No." And so I'll do that all the time jokingly.
As someone who doesn't watch anime, let alone One Piece, it was nice for me to get an understanding of the scene because,
Yeah.
you know, with the exception of Avatar, which we got into, that doesn't necessarily count as an anime.
Yeah.
But inspired by anime, I've never really watched or had the urge to really dive into anime, but I don't really have any disrespect anymore towards it.
Got it.
I think in high school I kind of had this, I don't know, there was like a vendetta. It was really weird. I was never that frustrated about myself with like sexuality or anything, but with like identifying with certain works of art, I was always like, oh, that fucking sucks. I'd never liked that. And so it was like, I guess, homophobia, but not towards anything gay or anything like that, but the same way you'd be homophobic to a gay person is how I was with anime.
Got
that
it.
was like,
It was one of those... Like,
that was my homophobia or something like that.
Got
It was just,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, see, all of growing up, when I was a kid, I remember being told, anime's stupid. And when I was a kid, I was very homophobic. So, it was like, anime's gay, anime's stupid, anime's this, anime's that. And so I never really got into anime. It wasn't till high school, actually. Sophomore year, Tanner, or... can't remember if it was Tanner or one of my other buddies, but they were like, have you ever even seen an anime? And I was like, now that I think about it, I don't think I have seen an anime. And they're like, alright, so before you go and look up a random anime to start watching, I need to show you one to get you hooked. And so he showed me one that he thought would like click with me, and oh boy did it. I am now a huge fan of both that show and anime now.
What was the show for you?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've
Yes.
heard good things.
My favorite part about that is because the whole premise behind it is equal exchange is what it's called.
Okay.
So, like, do you know how like medieval alchemy works?
No, please elaborate if you could. Or explain.
Alright, so alchemists or sorcerers or those people were scientists pretty much. And this show takes a lot of science into its effect. That's one thing I do love about it.
Okay.
But so, pretty much, alchemy... And don't quote me on this, to anyone watching or listening. This is what I think. I could be wrong. Please tell me if I am, because alchemy is one thing I am interested in. But alchemy was the science... Sorcery is the science of medieval ages.
Okay.
They refused to acknowledge it. So alchemy was like making healing potions. That's one thing that alchemists are kind of known for.
Right.
I don't want to say potions. Healing medicines.
Okay.
Because if I were to say a potion, everyone's like, oh, it's a sorcerer. But every scientist is a sorcerer. So yeah, alchemists, they made medicine pretty much.
Okay.
Medicine, drugs, shit like that. Shit that would not affect you physically, or if they would, you'd get sick or something. So that was an alchemist. And so what this show took into effect is it adds like what we perceive as magic, like shit shooting out of random shit. It's like you can do something magical, but you must give us something equal in exchange. So like let's say I want to turn this board into an axe, I must sacrifice the board. And even then, in the process of using it, the energy to change it, I will lose some wood. So I can't just keep changing it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Except somehow the main character's arm makes sense. Don't ask how. But, well, I guess he does break it over and over again.
So this was all in episode 1 of...
No, this is kind of scattered throughout.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how many episodes did you end up watching when you were introduced to this show?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
No, in the first sitting?
Oh, in the first
Yeah.
sitting. I watched...
How many episodes did you watch, or how far into an episode did you watch until you were like, I'm hooked on this thing?
Okay, so I was hooked probably about halfway in
Halfway in...
the first episode.
First episode, okay.
Yeah. No, I would say the entire first episode. You'd have to watch the whole episode to get...
Okay.
Is what got me hooked. Because what... I don't want to describe what happens in the first episode.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, and that's fair enough.
I do.
Yeah.
It's gory. It's very gory right in the first episode.
Okay.
That's what got me hooked.
I really wanted to ask you that because I had an experience that was very similar where I was at I was with a group of people and they were watching anime and I was like, I don't really watch anime, and they're like, all right, we're gonna get you hooked on one thing. No, actually, that's wrong. I gotta start with this. I just ended up going to this person's house. We all knew each other from high school and things like that. I didn't really hang out with this group of people. That's not so much important. But they all watched anime. I didn't.
Okay.
And I, being antisocial or just not very like, hey, I'm not really into this, I just kind of sat there for 3.5 hours watching the show called Trinity 7.
Oh. I have seen that one. I haven't
Yes.
seen all of it because the streaming
It's it's not even called it's not an anime. Well, it is, but it's called
It's
a
a-
harem. Harem?
a harem.
A harem? Yeah.
Well,
and that was my
okay,
introduction,
no,
and I went,
it
guys,
it is an anime. A harem is
it's a subdivision, or it's a no.
No, a harem is when one dude, like, in America we call them pimps. That's pretty much what a harem is. The only difference is instead of selling your women out, you keep them all for yourself.
Okay.
That's the difference between a harem and a pimp, kind of.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what a harem is.
Okay.
It's when you get a bunch of women to love you and they all are willing to accept it. Like, they're all willing to accept all these other women love them, but then they will love them too.
Oh, it's a fantasy.
100%
Definitely 100%
fantasy.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what a harem is.
Okay, yeah, that was my introduction to anime.
Yeah.
Before Avatar, before
Oh,
all of
really?
that, unfortunately. Yeah, well, I mean, I had seen Avatar and stuff growing
Okay,
up.
but you never, like, watched all of
No, because I was like 8 or 9 when that show came out.
Okay, yeah.
And there wasn't streaming.
Yeah,
So I could only catch it on Nickelodeon, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
know
and
what the fuck is going on.
If you weren't there at that time watching it every week...
No, and I was really
Yeah.
hooked and things like that. And then eventually when I was 12, like Korra came out, and I was like, God damn, I remember Avatar, and I'm 12, and I'm like, I really want to watch this show. And I was watching episode 1, I'm like, all right, well, thank God this is episode 1, but I still don't know what's going on.
Got it.
And so I never got into it. But then,
Okay.
all these years later, this incident, the group of people, happened either last year or the end of 2018. And sitting there watching this guy, it was almost like borderline hentai
Yeah.
in this show.
Yeah, that show is
And I was like,
borderline.
guys, this is my first experience with anime. And they went, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that is not something you want to...
And I'm just sitting there the whole, like, not even the whole time, just within 30 minutes, like, am I really watching horny anime with a group of dudes
Yeah.
post high school? And I'm like, this is not my idea of Tuesday.
This is not my idea of a Tuesday.
This is like, I haven't talked to you guys since high school, and this is what we're doing, huh?
Fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Oh no, they did give me some good recommendations. I have not watched them.
Got it.
Because I had already, like I said,
Yeah.
resented hentai.
Hentai. Call it hentai.
Hentai. No, I resented
borderline.
anime, let alone hentai.
Yeah.
In high school.
So,
And so
it kind
going
of-
into this, I was like, why? How did I get stuck into this?
You got thrown mid weeaboo when you haven't even seen the front gates.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I understand the draw of anime. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even, honestly, I didn't want to insult anime in general because of that experience. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I know this is not it. This is such a bad.
It's a horrible first start.
I know Pokemon is not fucking big tits the
Right,
whole
yeah.
fucking time, and this
Yeah.
guy's like, whoa. Yeah.
Fuck.
So it was a shock because I watched Avatar the first time this year when it came out on Netflix.
Okay.
Again, because it used to be on Netflix when I was younger,
Did it?
but I didn't have Netflix at the time. Yeah.
I didn't know it was on Netflix before that.
I was like 11 or 12, right when Korra was coming out.
To be
was
honest,
right-
I didn't
right
even
when
know
Netflix
Korra
was-
came out. I didn't know that
Really?
till it got released onto Netflix, and everyone's like, "Yeah, you haven't even seen The Legend of Korra? It's horrible."
That's fascinating.
And then
That's
I watched it, and I was like, if you take into account that it's a different person, that you're not getting Aang back, he's dead.
Well, it's not even so much that I eventually did watch Korra, because I watched Avatar for the first time this year all the way through. I fell in love with it. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. Or you know what? I watched it this year. Let's give it some time. That was one of the best shows I've seen in a very, very long time.
Got it.
And that was essentially marketed as a kid's cartoon when it deserves much more respect than that.
Yeah, much more. Respect.
Because it's very, I think, philosophical, and it's so incredibly crafted for a kid's show
Right.
as it's being marketed. And so going into Korra, I was a little nervous because I'm like, I did some research on it because I'm like, this has been I don't know a good amount of time since Avatar came out. And it's going to be about this, a girl named Korra, I think that 70 years later? Many decades later.
Yeah, like you can, because Aang's kids are grown up and old people, so.
Yeah, and so this show that had like a cult following, and then it was critically acclaimed, and it was only meant for 3 seasons.
Really?
Yes, it was. They were
That
like
makes a lot of sense.
there was a lot of, or not a lot, but there was a few unanswered questions that they didn't want to dive into another season. They were like, nope, this is it. They kind of went into it, I guess, in comic books. So I've heard like Zuko's mom and things like that.
Oh,
I won't
really?
get too into it in case no one's watched it like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't really go into that in Korra. I only made
true.
it through season 1 of Korra. I didn't want to watch it again because it wasn't the same. It felt
I
like
feel.
the cool ideas were going to be saved for the next season, and it felt like Nickelodeon knew what they had on their hands because of Avatar, and so when they were making Korra, I felt like it was very what you would see with Spider-Man in the past. Do you know a lot about the Spider-Man movies in the past? About why they all ended and things like that?
No.
Okay. So, I guess I will speak for Spider-Man 3 that came out in 2007.
Okay.
I will speak for that. So, those were the first movies of Spider-Man movies. And they were revolutionary, at least for its time, especially with CGI and things like
True.
that.
That is very true.
And because, you had the 70s Spider-Man show, which...
Yeah.
What there wasn't, one thing they really criticized was there was no web swinging and things like that. There was very little Spider in the Man,
And that's
and
another,
and so when they went into these new movies, or well, the first ones,
Yeah.
that was a very big draw.
That's
Along with it was pretty well written for for a superhero flick, especially of that time. Not to criticize it too much.
That is true. And-
Spider-Man 2. Sorry, go ahead.
So one thing I do like that so one thing I don't know if this is true for everyone, but the original Spider-Man movies, the original trilogy is what kind of got me hooked into superhero movies. Just
Same
because
here.
of like, they could get the true design in when it came to the web. They could get, like, it didn't look like just a string and then you could tell it was attached to a building. Like, there are times in the show where you're like, what the hell is he swinging on?
Yeah.
He shouldn't be swinging there.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I do like about it.
I agree.
They were a lot more detailed with the small things.
I agree. Because around that time, X-Men came out. I was super big into X-Men. It was X-Men and Spider-Man. Yeah. They were revolutionary.
Yep.
But again, CGI and things like that. And they were really well written. And ironically, both of their third movies tanked with fans.
Well, okay.
So with Spider-Man 2, though...
Go ahead.
It was more about Peter Parker than it was about Spider-Man. It was about losing his powers and, like, how important it was to be Spider-Man. And so it was really more about the characters.
Yeah.
For what it was. And I won't give it too much praise. Like, yeah, they're superhero movies. They're summer blockbusters. They're meant to eat popcorn and things like that.
Right.
But they should also be respected, where it's directed by Sam Raimi, who did Evil Dead and things like that. And he's a great director, and he knows how to tell a story really well, at least in my opinion. So when Spider-Man 3 came around, I think the villain of the movie was just supposed to be Harry and maybe Sandman. Okay. Sandman had a very grounded story.
Yeah.
But what I know for sure was Venom was not supposed to be in the movie. In fact, Sam Raimi didn't even like Venom.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So Sony, who owns the rights to Spider-Man still to this day, wanted more villains, and they especially wanted Venom because it was a fan favorite, and they're like, this will be a big draw.
And not only that, that was... A lot of people think of Venom as Spider-Man's rival.
Exactly. Which is kind of hard not to, considering the aesthetic of their designs or something is very yin and yang to me.
The reason why Venom was made is... So, Venom originally was not a character. It was a Spider-Man suit.
Right, the symbiote.
No. Like, what? The whole idea of Venom did not come until after Black Spider-Man came out, as they called it.
Right.
And so, hold on, where was I going?
Which Black Spider-Man has a total different meaning after 2011.
Yes. Yeah, after 2011.
Actually, that's actually kind of offensive too, because it's like, let's not call him Black, but call him Miles.
But that's the name they gave it. And I'm not talking about Miles either. That's the other second part.
Oh, the symbiote suit. Yeah.
And
was it an alien thing, or did they just have a costume for Spider-Man?
It was just a costume for Spider-Man. Okay. And then people fell in love with the suit. And they were like, well, Spider-Man doesn't wear all black. We got to throw him back in his red and blue.
Right.
And that's when they came up with what if we make this suit an alien? And then it goes on to someone who's hating Peter Parker, and is like, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Venom came in. I'm probably way wrong with, like, the thought process that got there, but...
It's a good synopsis of the history of Venom and how it came to be.
I don't know what synopsis means.
Or it's a good summary. Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that was in, I think, the 80s, around when that happens, and this is mid-2000s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been 20, 25 years of build-up for for wanting to see that on screen, let alone Spider-Man. They wanted to see Spider-Man for so many years, let alone Venom. So now that they've made a lot of money and they have an opportunity, it's the third movie. Yeah. I mean, Sony's like, let's make some fucking money here. And Sam was like, fuck this. Okay, yeah, we'll cast the dude from That 70s Show to play Eddie Brock. And you know what?
That is who that was.
Yep.
I never put that together.
And it was great timing for, I guess,
because that was
more
right
or less.
That 70s Show ended, right? Right around?
Yeah, right around that point. He left the show at before the final season because he was, from what I've heard, this is not confirmed, he didn't like the writing because it was 8 seasons in. And he's like, it's not the same.
Got it.
How many times are we going to do pot kids having sex and doing drugs for 8 seasons, and it's still the 70s?
Right.
And it started in like 74, 75 or whatever.
So it started mid-70s, and it's like,
We're still there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still in the 70s. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, and so he got the opportunity to play Venom, and I feel really bad because it's not fucking Topher Grace's fault. It's Sony and Sam Raimi. And Sam, from what I remember, he doesn't even like the movie now.
Not a lot of people do.
No, Sam was like, fuck this movie. And he was going to have a redemption arc in Spider-Man 4. It was just going to be with Vulture, and that didn't come. That didn't. And
because of the flop on 3, 4 never came.
Right. So we got 3 villains when it was should have only been maybe 2.
Yeah.
And then in which happened again in The Amazing Spider-Man, where it was Sony was like, okay, you made your first Spider-Man movie, cool, awesome. For Spider-Man 2, we're gonna add Electro, we're gonna have Green Goblin again, and we're gonna have fucking the Rhino. And they actually, that's wrong too, I think, to an extent, because there wasn't a completed script. They just kept adding shit and they made a movie off of it.
That's why it ended with a cliffhanger. Question.
Yes, they were trying to set up the Sinister Six, which is what they're doing now with this Spider-Man 3. but the difference is, it's because of COVID. That's why they're bringing back so many people. I believe it's because of COVID, because all their careers are on the line. Theaters might be shutting down.
That's true.
If they don't get all these A-listers, they will never have a career again.
Yeah.
Or not for quite some time.
That is true. Not until COVID at least passes over, and even then it might be after.
What better way to get money than have every single Spider-Man show back up again?
Right.
Fuck, the first time they tried that idea on a cartoon, it won an Oscar.
Yeah, it blew up. But there's one thing I am kind of worried about when it comes to the new Spider-Man, is, so, the Homecoming, I haven't watched that yet, but yeah, I've seen Far From Home, but I haven't seen Homecoming.
In my opinion, Homecoming is a little bit better.
Okay.
Just a little.
But, so, I don't know how many villains are in Homecoming, but I'm assuming it's one. Main villain, I should say.
Oh yeah, the main villain is,
like you've got one big fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact, Donald Glover is in the, I'm a big Childish Gambino fan. Donald Glover's in the movie.
Oh really?
And I don't know if you knew this about Miles Morales, but so back to the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So once they canceled Spider-Man 4, Sony's like, oh, we're gonna do Spider-Man again. And because when they were starting to cast people in 2009, Community, have you ever heard that show?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think you've seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips from it.
Okay. Well, Donald Glover was one of the main cast members of the show.
Oh.
And so when they were starting this new Spider-Man thing around, I think someone on Twitter was like, maybe Spider-Man can be black. Maybe it doesn't have to be white. Maybe it can be played by, some of color. And then someone suggested Donald, and then that kind of blew up. And then someone was like, oh, Donald Glover can play him. Like, he fits the role. He's pretty fit. And he's kind of nerdy. And
I never really thought of Donald Glover being Spider-Man or Miles Morales or really anything.
Well, Miles Morales didn't exist at that point.
Oh, really?
Yes. So,
okay.
In case we mentioned that before, sorry, we're kind of picking up where we left. We had some technical difficulty.
Yeah, we had a little glitch, so if you hear it cut out and then come back in, I do apologize. I'll try to fix that. No, I won't. I'm probably not going to edit this at all because I don't like my voice.
Fuck it, who cares, man?
Right? This is a podcast. We're all here to experience it together.
Is that exclusive to podcasting?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's my podcast.
Fuck.
Hopefully.
But no, that's Donald Glover was the inception of Miles Morales, because with that idea that someone just suggested on Twitter, that kind of trended, and this is right when Twitter's starting to a little bit around that time. And Donald was like, "Fuck it, yeah, hashtag Donald for Spider-Man." And then some people were like, "Yes, we want Donald Glover to be Spider-Man." And then
that's why
people were like, "Fuck that guy," and just because he was black.
That's bullshit.
It was ridiculous. And so
This was, like you said, this was in like what, 2000?
2010, yeah, 09, 10-ish. This
Okay.
is right when they're
Oh
looking
my.
for people. Sony never even gave him a casting call.
Really?
He had no chance, no audition, nothing.
That's bullshit.
Didn't give him a chance. Season 2 premiere of Community. It's setting the scene. All right, we're back to the school year of community college. I'm not gonna waste time talking about Community right here.
Yeah.
Although watch the show. It's underrated gem of television.
Where's a place to stream it?
Netflix.
Netflix has it?
Netflix. Hulu has it.
Dude, I
Yeah,
searched Netflix last week.
I hope they didn't take it down. But right in the beginning of April, Netflix added it to. Yeah, it.
I'm definitely gonna be watching that.
Yep.
Because I've been looking everywhere. For it.
Hashtag 6 seasons in a movie. You will understand that quote once you watch that show.
All right.
It's amazing. But yeah, season 2 premiere of Community. It's all setting up the characters, it's showing them waking up from their beds wherever they are, college dorm, wherever.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off, but
No worries.
please tell me Donald Glover's wearing a Spider-Man outfit.
That's exactly what it is. He wakes up in Spider-Man pajamas, goes, ugh, and then it cuts to another person.
Oh, that's great.
Michael Bendis, I believe that's his name, was a writer for Marvel, and they were developing a Ultimate Universe. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I fucked that up too. God, I'm just not good today with that. There was an established alternate universe in the Marvel Comics called Ultimate Comics. And
I do remember hearing about that.
I would just like to make note real quick that I am not smoking as well.
Well,
Straight edge. I'm a CM Punk guy.
if the fans are listening close enough, they'll realize that you only hear the bong when you're talking.
Oh, fair enough.
But that's if they pay close enough attention. If not, they'll be like, oh shit, what? I need to listen. Hopefully.
And then, so Michael Bendis, I believe is his name, was a writer for the Ultimate Comics line for Marvel.
Okay.
And they were killing off Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And Michael was watching that episode of Community, and it was funny. And he just thought, he's like, my God, he looks great in a Spider-Man outfit. And so that was the start of Miles Morales, was
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover
as Spider-Man.
as Spider-Man, technically, wearing just little pajamas. In fact, that scene, if you watch the Into the Spider-Verse movie, there's a little scene where Miles is with Uncle Aaron
Okay.
on the TV in the very first interaction in the movie. You can see that exact moment of him stretching his arms.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
Yeah.
I need to watch that again and pay closer attention.
And that's an Easter egg because in Spider-Man Homecoming, Donald Glover plays Uncle Aaron. So Donald was the inception of Miles Morales, and he's also playing the Prowler before the Prowler
Yeah.
in the movie.
Damn.
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So technically, Miles has been sort of introduced into the MCU, but not completely. He might still be a young boy.
Well, okay, so this was a little while ago when I heard this. I don't know if this will still happen or if it's canon or anything, but I did hear originally when they were talking about Spider-Man 3, it was right after Into the Spider-Verse blew up, and they were thinking about seeing if they could fuse those characters in as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. If you'd have to make either the live characters animated or the animated live action. I don't know how you do that. But I think that would be pretty cool.
I believe.
And I hope they do it because I
Yeah.
would love to see Miles Morales, like a live action Miles Morales. And not only that, but I do want to see how you do a noir Spider-Man.
I
One
would
that's black and white but is in a world of color in real life.
I would love to see Noir Spider-Man as a television show. I feel like that would be a great, I don't know, I feel like a crime show, but, Spider-Man theme.
It would be a
would
nice
be-
like kids crime show. Like you know how there are like people out there who love like watching like Criminal Minds and stuff like that. Like this is like the kids version. Like
I could see
here's
that.
Spider-Man doing it. Give me pictures of Spider-Man.
I do know they're developing a TV show based off of one of the versions of Spider People in one of the movies. I can't remember excuse me, which one it is exactly, but there is a show that was in development. I'm not sure if it still is now. Another fun fact. So Donald, I'm really geeking out right here over Donald. So he has a show on FX called Atlanta.
I've heard of that one. I haven't seen that one.
I love that show. It's really, really good. FX was developing a animated adult comedy. Animated adult comedy of Deadpool that was going to be written by Donald Glover.
I remember hearing about that.
Yep,
That was before I knew who Donald Glover is. Before I knew he was Childish Gambino.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, Redbone had. I think that was like right before This Is America, like literally a few months.
Yeah,
this was in 2018.
Yeah, This Is America is when I figured out Childish Gambino and Donald Glover are the same person.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of people.
That's
come to
also.
that conclusion.
Yeah.
I love that meme, and I also kind of hate that now. Of like, did you know? Like, they kind of look like the same person. It's like, I know you're joking, but oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the meme. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. There's like pictures of like, they're the same person, but it's Donald being Donald, and then Donald as Childish Gambino in concert, and it's like, yeah, you've never really seen them in the same room together. You know?
Oh, okay.
It's one of those like, yeah.
Got
I
it.
know you're joking.
It's one of those. It's like that one Spider-Man meme where he's pointing at himself.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's exactly
Got it.
that. Yeah.
I like how we wrap back to Spider-Man.
Well, he is. He's Spider-Man. Actually, I think one of the cartoons of Spider-Man, he did voice Miles. So he has played Miles at some point.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That was really cool. Yeah.
One thing. Ooh. Okay, so I haven't played the new Spider-Man game yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask it to the viewers because I don't know if you know it either.
Okay.
But does Donald Glover voice someone in the game?
No.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your
Yeah.
knowledge. Okay. Because that would be badass too.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Because it's a Miles Morales game. And not only that, we got introduced to Miles Morales in the first game. We didn't get to play as him with the web slinging and all that, but you get to run around as Miles Morales during a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck. That Spider-Man game was one of my favorite games of the past, like, 5 years.
I stopped hanging out with all my friends for an entire week just to beat that game.
Same here. I would be on a voice call with my best friend Ben, and we would just be playing it while he's in his dorm in Bozeman, and I was here, obviously, and just
Sick.
yeah, it was. I think he beat me by like 2 hours, like beat the game.
Oh,
I was like,
oof.
fuck. Yeah.
Were you incorporating going to bed and going to school? Like, were you headed to
I
bed
had
at the
just
same time?
graduated.
Oh, okay, okay.
I had just seen Childish Gambino
Okay.
in concert.
Oh,
Fun.
that's awesome.
God, that's so weird. Very weird parallel. Yeah. Oh my God. This is a side note. Childish Gambino in concert was like, hands down, will probably be the best concert I ever go to, until I get to see My Chemical Romance.
Got it.
Unless they cancel that. And if they do,
Right.
you know what? That's fine.
Like, the band's already broken up, I understand.
I was so content by the end of last year, like, all right, they're just not coming back. And that's fine. They're older.
Yeah. Like, they're not, like, in their 60s yet, but they're not in their 20s like they were.
And that's hard to sing when you get older.
True.
That's very hard to scream.
That's true.
Yeah, and if you're focused on Umbrella Academy and you're also making your own stuff, and you know, Gerard runs a division of DC Comics called Young Animal.
Really?
Yes, he writes the new Doom Patrol stuff. He's been doing that for the past 6 years.
1 second.
No problem. He does that with Sean Simon, who's another writer. And, you know, he just came out with a new Umbrella Academy comic after like 10 years.
Oh,
And so,
damn it. I thought I had Doom Patrol, but I have the Outsiders.
oh, you're good. Outsiders?
Yeah, it's another DC group.
Shit, who's that by?
Let me check. 3 people.
3 people.
You've got Judd Winnick,
Jug Whittick,
Tom Rainey,
Tom
and
Rainey,
Sean Parsons.
and Sean Parsons. I've heard of Sean.
These are the Outsiders. It's kind of like based around... I haven't read them yet, but if I'm not mistaken, they are the Teen Titans villains.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
That's what's up. Okay.
Or they're based around the Teen Titans. I know they all involve the Teen Titans somehow.
Right.
I just don't think it's about the Teen Titans. But
It doesn't have to deal with so much the A-list like Superman, Batman. It's more of the
it's definitely nowhere close to the A-lists.
yeah.
Except you might see Nightwing. That's your closest to your A-list.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're mainly just small villains that are young too. And so, they're kind of interesting.
That's cool.
I haven't read that one specifically, but I have read one of the others. It's that other one I read involves the enemies from Teen Titans in it.
Ooh.
Like, it's got the big strong dude and the dude with the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to your comic fans. I'm not like
Very loose idea of who they are.
yeah, I have a very loose idea of DC. I pay more attention to Marvel. I'm sorry.
Does your knowledge come from Teen Titans, the animated show?
No, wait, which one?
Yes.
Not the new one.
Oh, that's where I get all my Teen Titans information. Teen
Fuck.
Titans Go.
Oh my god.
No.
No, the only person in Teen Titans Go that I have never heard of was the TV dude.
Oh,
The one
yes.
who shows them the original show. And
They may
even those-
have created that guy just for that.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm not much of a DC fanatic.
I'm not either. I pay more attention to Marvel, and then I can't even say I pay attention to Marvel because it's more of Marvel's darker half.
Yeah, it's
not
the
even-
mainstream, and it's in it's
No,
in,
I don't pay attention. I don't like the mainstream too much. Like I pay attention to it, but it's their dark half that I pay attention to.
Oh,
So
okay,
like I
my
won't
bad.
pay attention to like Iron Man. Oh, I'm saving the day, or Captain America. But I'll read in on like Venom and like Punisher and the anti-heroes, Ghost Rider. Like I like the people with darker backstories where it's not like, oh yeah, I became a hero to help people. It's like, yeah, so all my friends are dead and I have no one left. You want to be my partner? No? All right. Like something
Yeah.
kind of like that. But yeah, that's kind of where I pay attention. I'm not a DC person per se.
Okay, yeah, I like reading the occasional like classic stories.
Okay.
Like I guess Watchmen counts. Everyone's got to read Watchmen if you're gonna get into comics, I think. And that's coming from someone who doesn't really read comics.
Yeah.
It's just like you kind of have to read Watchmen if you want like a really good, high quality
Okay.
graphic novel or comic book story.
I've only seen the movie, and I've heard the movie misses a lot when it comes to the show. When it comes to the comics.
It does,
And
and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a fucking movie. I don't
It's a
understand
movie.
why people criticize the studios when it's like it's not 100% the comic, because it's like, why would you want everything from the?
And-
You're gonna be so
well-
bored out of your fucking mind. You're just gonna be like, oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, yeah,
You want a twist.
You're gonna remember it, but it's still gonna be cool seeing it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna read it. And it's like, oh, he shot fireballs out of his hands, and then you're gonna see him shoot fireballs like out of his hands. You're gonna be like, that's even more badass than the fucking comic.
Oh
bro.
yeah. I mean,
Like-
I don't mean necessarily that. I mean
Yeah.
follow the characters as the characters.
Yeah, see, one thing I'm with you on is I don't see why everyone wants the movie to be the comic. Because it's
Yeah.
like, that's the cool part about being a director, and especially when you get told you have this story. Well, not even this story, you have this character. Like, let's say I have to make a movie on Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
I have hundreds of comics that I can get inspired from, that I can make twists and turns in, and create a badass movie.
Yeah, and you can't
But-
make every single comic story
True.
into a movie. So you can only cherry pick so many previous in the comics previous stories to turn into a live action adaptation of Daredevil or
Yeah.
superhero of your choosing.
Yeah. We're just sticking
it's
with...
just
Yeah.
you can't follow them all, and so it's never going to be completely 100% comic accurate.
That's true.
Unless it's like where, for example, the Umbrella Academy. There's only 3 books by Gerard Way because it's still fairly new. It came out in 2007, 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, like right after Black Parade.
Got it.
Yeah. So you can be really faithful and follow 100% the comics, but if you've seen the show and also have read the comics, you'll know there's some changes. I, for one, believe that's a good thing because you shouldn't have the same vision or try and emulate the same vision 100% because it's going to feel derivative and lame and it's not yours. You should have your own version and your own vision while also being respectful to what the characters are. And Gerard Way's on that project. Obviously the comics, he writes them, but he's an executive producer on the show, and he was like, yeah, fucking do whatever you want. Yeah, just...
Alright, so here's a question that's a little off topic from what we were talking about, but do you know if Gerard Way has made any other comics by chance? Or is that the only one?
Yeah, so when My Chemical Romance had their final album, it was called Danger Days. It was a concept record that was just about a bunch of... Here, to give a background of My Chem... I'm sorry, I'm really geeking out as an emo.
You're good. Welcome to
so-
the fantasy of whatever I please.
Welcome to the Black Parade.
Fuck. If I don't get sued, just post that as my...
just put the G note. Bong! That's
everyone will understand. Just right at the beginning of every episode, just dun. All right.
Here we
Welcome to
go.
my podcast.
Welcome to the Black Parade. Fucking, but, so, their previous albums, their first album was it was an album. It kind of had a concept about vampires and things like that. It was dark themes and death.
Okay.
Their second album was about 2 lovers. One of them was killed or she died young. And it's about the guy making a deal with the devil that you must kill 1,000 evil men in order to retrieve the soul of his lost loved one.
Okay.
And so that's what that's about. And then the Black Parade is about a cancer patient being told you have 2 weeks left to live. And he's in his maybe mid-20s, early 30s. And he just fucking hates himself. And then by the end of the album, you have to decide, does he live or die? And it's kind of left ambiguous, and you could kind of go wherever.
Okay.
Where on this 4th album, which Gerard talked about, he didn't want to make anything past the Black Parade. He just wanted to make those 3 albums, but they went fucking huge with Black Parade. They, instead of making it all dark, it was colorful, and it was like a neon rock album about these kids in the desert having laser fights with an evil corporation that has taken over what is the remnants of America.
Okay.
There was like it's post-nuclear Holocaust. The album came out in 2010. It was set in 2019, which is when they returned as a band.
Oh. Oh.
So there's a whole theory there. That's
Interesting.
Yes. And so the reason why I'm mentioning all of this is Gerard wrote a comic called The Fabulous Killjoys, which is the characters they portrayed on the album. And so their music videos followed a little storyline about these kids in the desert, My Chem, protecting this little girl.
Got it.
And then so the comic book follows where the band died, and then so in this comic book it takes place like, I don't know, 5-10 years after. So this is 2020 something. And
Okay, so about like 2024-ish.
yeah, around that time. The girl's a little older, and that's it for Gerard. And then Gerard actually started the Fabulous Killjoys up again this year with comic books. And so really Gerard just writes Umbrella Academy, some DC comics, mainly Doom Patrol, and then Killjoys every now and then. and then he makes his own, like in the Into the Spider-Verse, that anime Japanese girl with the robot. That's Gerard Way's character. He created that, and so.
But that's Marvel.
Yes, he's
Really?
a freelance writer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gerard Way
okay.
started out as a comic book writer.
But he's freelance.
Yep. And then in 2001, he went to college for has a degree for comic books. He was an illustrator. And then he started working as an intern for Cartoon Network, I believe, and he was pitching a show. And then the morning of 9/11, because he lives in New Jersey, 9/11 happened, and it changed his whole perspective. And then he was like, "What the fuck am I doing with my life?" And so he started a band with his brother, Mikey, My Chemical Romance. And so that's how that happened.
Got it.
Then like 5 years into it, he's like, "Fuck, I miss comic books." And so Umbrella Academy came out, and that won an Eisner, which is the Oscars for comics.
Okay,
So,
okay. Now, here's one question I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, Doom Patrol. Mm-hmm. Is that the same Doom Patrol? Because I don't know anything about Doom Patrol, like, at all. I didn't even know it was a comic.
Okay.
But I do know there's a show
Yes.
called Doom Patrol.
I don't believe it follows Gerard's version, because Doom Patrol's been around since the 60s.
Okay.
It was, I believe, Gerard follows, or he's inspired by, this writer. I'm struggling to think of the name at the moment. Give me 1 second. It's, I think it's something Morrison, Grant Morrison.
Okay.
I believe that's the guy who wrote it originally. And,
I've heard of that name.
yeah, he was in the, fun fact, he was in the Danger Day videos, the Killjoys. Gerard is a big fan of Grant Morrison. He's a legend.
Okay. So
It's-
I bet you it was an honor when he was able to
Oh,
do some
absolutely.
Doom
Yeah.
Patrol.
So when My Chem broke up, he was just like, I'm just going to go do fucking comics. And then ended up making a solo record. And so that's just kind of what he does now. He's like, I'm just doing my thing, and
Yeah.
I'm going to make what I want.
I'm doing me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of like where we are right now, where
Yeah.
there's a similar pattern in that we used to be making stuff,
but now we're.
but now we're kind of trying to find something again.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
I think because my Gerard Way used to be Bo Burnham and Donald Glover, where that they were my idols, and I just followed the blueprint of whatever they did, and that's how I was going about it. But as I got more angsty and depressed in high school, I found My Chem like weeks before I graduated.
Oh, really?
I could have really used them in the
probably.
beginning, but that's fair enough. And so what Gerard said right when they broke up is, if you make something, one, make it for yourself. Like, you're not going to make anything good unless you make it for yourself and you're a fan of it. And now that I've said that, as long as you're a fan of it,
Keep going.
holy shit, that was the biggest jump scare I've ever had.
Sorry about that. That
No,
was
you're
my
good.
phone going off.
I was looking at you in the eyes.
Yeah.
And then, beep beep.
No, it's meep meep.
Meep meep.
It's the Roadrunner.
Oh God.
Meep meep.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with Looney Tunes. I grew up with nothing Warner Brothers.
Really?
Fuck them. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
Actually, no, I'm not joking. They did Johnny Depp dirty. Fuck them for right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. Yeah, no, I grew up with Warner Brothers, like almost all of their movies.
Fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
especially Looney Tunes, that was a big key.
I liked Looney Tunes a little bit. I just didn't watch it. But
Sorry, getting back to where we were.
oh, you're good. That's my bad.
You're good.
If you make what you like, and you know you like it, and you're such a big fucking fan of it, then you already got one fan that matters. That's it. Don't build a fake fan base. That's my biggest problem with YouTube. With some YouTube creators, is I feel like they're following a blueprint of
Yeah.
other people, and it's just like, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you're
You're just kind of,
copying.
yeah, or
Kind of.
you don't have, this is your open mic. You don't have a voice yet, and so you're doing covers.
When you could be making originals.
Well, you're doing covers because you don't know who you are. You haven't found your voice.
Yeah.
And so that's why most people are insecure when they make things, I think. As for me, for years, I did stand up in high school, from like age 16, and then I stopped right when I graduated because I didn't know who I was anymore. And so I got really frustrated because you mentioned this earlier today at work where it was like you said that I resemble a little bit of Bo Burnham style when I talk, or like how I joke around.
Yeah.
A lot of people said I was Bo Burnham growing up, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do something with that because I was starting to getting into humor. I never knew how to be funny, but I knew people. Yeah.
So you were trying to follow Bo Burnham's blueprint.
A little bit, yes.
A little bit.
Which is funny because Donald Glover is the reason. He was the guy that pulled the trigger for me.
Okay.
There's a certain incident, I won't get into it on the internet because I think that's really personal. It has to deal with like heartbreak and shit.
You're good. It's all right.
Yeah. And so my ambition for doing comedy was out of like a heartbreak over a fucking girl, which is really silly and stupid.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, well, that's comedy. It's silly and stupid. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I can just fail. I never wanted to be a comedian, and that felt like a joke in itself. So I was like, okay, well, I can run with that. I can.
So
if you're not gonna laugh with me, you can laugh at me. I'm cool with it. I was just feeling very angsty, and I was
it was
doing it for her.
Sorry, but it was kind of one of those where where was I going with this? So you were up on stage, like you said earlier, you want to be a fan of what you do.
Correct.
That way you have the fan that truly matters.
Yeah.
And so what you were doing during comedy was, like, instead of making the jokes to make people laugh, you were trying to somewhat be the joke because you weren't fully hearted into it.
I guess kind of. It was more so.
I want to say somewhat because I don't mean it in an insult way.
Oh no, you're fine. So this was my sophomore year of high school, and like the two main ones were Bo Burnham and Donald Glover. Mm-hmm. They started doing comedy when they were at the age I was.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, maybe that means something.
Yeah.
I was looking too into it. I was just
got it.
I had a weird ambition. I felt like, all right, well, let's try this out. And so I just wanted to make something that expressed this weird thing that I was discovering about myself for the first time, which was I have weird thoughts. I find them funny. I don't know how to construct it properly. Let me figure it out.
Got it.
And so I was just articulating weird thoughts and constructing it into the form of a 5-minute set. And so the only way I could kind of do it was like, okay, how would Bo Burnham do this joke? Which, all of it, if you go on YouTube, the only one I have up right now, I used to have 3 videos, I only have 1. Okay. Because I've matured and realized
those 2 might...
Uploading open mic sets is not a good look. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
You don't?
I don't think so. You don't want to show your practice stuff to the whole world. You want to practice your stuff so you can show your finished stuff.
I don't know.
And so the 5-minute set or 6-minute set I have on YouTube is literally just the stuff I had done for about a year and a half at that point. I was 17 at that time when I posted that.
Got it. So it was one of those, like, this one, I've been doing it for a little bit. I kind of know how the jokes are going.
Yeah. And I started, like, actually doing shows, like actual shows, not just open mics. Oh. And I was feeling strange and weird about it because, a lot happens when you're in high school and you're a kid. You start growing up a lot faster than any other period in your life because so much is going on. You got a lot of pressure.
That's true.
I'm going into my senior year. And I started having panic attacks on stage. And I was like, oh, Bo Burnham did that. I was like, so what happened to Bo Burnham when that happened? Oh, he quit. And I went, oh, what am I doing? And I was like, right. Yeah, you haven't written a new joke that worked or that you liked in so long and you're just doing this 5-minute set you no longer really like and you're getting really insecure. More insecure than usual. And so I started getting in my head and then some other shit happened. Again, with, like, I wanted to find stuff off stage, like relationships and things, and that didn't work out, and so I was like, fuck comedy. And and then they invited me back up again on stage after like a 6-month, I call it a hiatus, where I just didn't perform really. Okay. And that was for a professional comedian. I had done that before. Not to toot my own horn, but like,
Right.
I'd done it before, and I
Yeah.
was just depressed. It was
It was one of those like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I was here to be an audience member. I wasn't here to perform. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And I was the very first guy up. Dead air for 5 minutes. And it was with the material that worked on that YouTube thing. And I was like, what the fuck happened? And I got off stage and I went to my friend Will, he's incredible. Will Thomas. I just wanted to name drop him.
Shout out to Caden's buddy.
Yeah, Will Thomas. I went up to him and I was like, you just witnessed the end of a career.
God damn.
Oh, it's all good, buddy.
I am.
And he's like,
turning this
oh.
to silent.
And he told me, he's like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, no, really? Yeah, this is it. I felt like. And so it just took me up until recently that I feel like, especially at 18, I was like, I'm becoming... I have no professional help here as a comic. I work sometimes with actual professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still an amateur, but I became a caricature of something I used to be. Instead of... and it's not even the same as like how I mentioned earlier. Sometimes you're just emulating the person you admire while you're trying to find yourself. Yeah. I was actually just becoming... I was being something that I no longer was. And so I was like, am I funny? I'm not even a comedian anymore. Am I funny? And so I just stopped making things. And I got really insecure and really in my own head. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do comedy again, but I want to make things again. Yeah. Because it's still fun for me. And I kind of just lost that way. Because I was so focused on... Because they were telling me, you need to move to LA, or you need... I got connections, and we can get you doing this thing. Some guy was talking to me, he's like, maybe we can do like right after we graduate, we can do like a little mini tour. And I was like, I don't know how we do that. And that was, again, during my little hiatus. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And then nothing ever came of that. And thank God, because that would have fucking sucked.
Yeah, because then you'd have been writing jokes as you were going, probably.
I wouldn't have been writing jokes. I'd be like, you know what, fuck this set. I'm a bomb. And that's actually what I've been doing at open mics. Occasionally, I will go. And I will go and waste their time on purpose.
Fuck.
I will go to them and be like, guys, you need to check this set out tonight. Like, this is fucking killer. And I'll go up there and I'll talk about nothing for 10 minutes. And it's supposed to be a 5-minute set. It's a major dick move, but it's a therapeutic because I'm like, I'm making myself laugh inside because I'm watching their faces now going, really? Like, what else?
It's like, now I'm laughing at you.
Exactly. I'm having fun again.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. And trying to hopefully plant a seed or build the foundations of maybe I can be funny on stage again. Because I found no, I'm still a funny guy. You're just not going to be able to experience it because I like being funny with people I like to be funny with.
Okay.
I want to find it organically. I don't want to be a Bo Burnham knockoff.
Right.
I don't want to be anything that I'm.
You want to be yourself. You don't want to be someone or something else.
Yeah. It's it's creepy to be like a Stan. Like, my tea's gone cold, I'm wondering. Especially when you're a fucking comedian. You don't want to be Stan.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think out of 70 plus minutes of us talking and then that little rant that I just went on right there,
right.
I think if there's anything you can learn going forward with this podcast thing, whether you want to keep pursuing it or not, is only make it for yourself first and don't fucking...
Okay.
Don't worry about the subscribers because that comes after.
Yeah, see, when it comes to YouTube, one thing... I'm sorry to continue it, seeing if you want to stop.
Oh, no, you're good.
But when it comes to what I was trying... So what I originally wanted to do in YouTube was to create something for people to like.
Mm-hmm.
Just like everyone else who's trying to make something on YouTube.
Right.
But then as I started going on, I was sitting there and I was like, no one's going to like this stuff. No one's going to like this. No one's going to like that. So one thing I'm trying with this channel is I'm trying to change my perspective. I'm not trying to make a show that everyone wants to like anymore. What I'm trying to do is just make a show that's something you can listen to. Like, not something you have to watch or pay attention to, something you could zone out for a solid half hour, mid-thought, texting your friends, but something where you could just look back and be like, oh, okay, we're still on this. This isn't bad, and just jump right back in. Like, because one thing I noticed with a lot of, especially YouTube, because a lot of people have videos, like, no one really does, here's your audio. Like, it's always a video, you always have to be paying attention, especially if you want to catch on to whatever jokes they're getting now.
Yeah.
Where I want something where, how would I think of this? Let's think of this more like a ladder. So, you've got people who have the videos, so you go up and down the ladder. You're constantly watching, you're constantly going through, you're constantly going up and down. I want a show that's kind of like when people use the ladder for exercise. They set it on the ground, they put one foot in and out and go back and forth. I want it kind of like that, where you can pop in every now and then, but then you can just leave. And then you can come back, watch this same podcast, click a random spot in the episode, hop right back in.
Okay.
Like, I want to do something kind of like that.
That's good.
And that's why I really do like when the whole, this topic, now we're going to here, now we're going to there.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't really have to know what led to this topic, as long as you're listening to the topic.
Right.
That's something what I want. And it's hard to explain that to people because it's one of those, I can only think of it in moment, but then when someone's like, so, what's your podcast like? It's like, fuck, all that's gonna come out is Joe Rogan. I don't want that. I want something different.
You know, the problem is, until you start really making a consistent, like a series of podcasts, you're just gonna get the Joe Rogan thing. Because,
that's true.
As far as the podcasting game goes in the mainstream, it's just Joe Rogan. Maybe
That's
some people
true.
might know a little bit more, like, oh, there's
Chris D'Elia.
Yeah, there's Chris D'Elia, Mark Maron. There's I could.
Yeah.
You can name names. I can't.
There's the Misfits.
The Misfits.
Yeah.
No,
Not the band.
Oh, okay. I was
not
like,
the band.
damn.
You know Fitz, the YouTuber?
Oh yes,
Him,
yes.
Swagger Souls, they call it the Misfits.
Damn, that
Yeah.
bums me out.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to get your hopes
Oh
up.
no, that's fine. Fitz is a cool dude. Sorry.
I forgot the Misfits is a band. It's funny because I went to go look up their merch and I was like, I could never see Fitz wearing any of this.
Yeah.
And Tanner goes, Logan, that's a band. And I was like, what? No. God damn it.
Logan,
This
Logan. Tanner of all people would probably be the one to be like, obviously that's not
Yeah.
Fitz. Yeah. Like,
But I'm sitting here like, I didn't know there was a band called Misfits.
and that's okay. That's that's before my time too.
I like how our time's different.
A lot happens in a year.
True. That is true. I mean, look at 2020, for example.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
Fucking shit.
I saw this one meme that I hope perfectly explains 2020. And it's a whole, Bible meme.
Yeah.
Or, I don't want to say Bible because it's not super closely, but, so it's two angels. One's writing on what looks to be paper, and another one walks in, and he goes, hi, do you have the plan set for the 2020s ready? And he's like, 2020s? As in plural? He's like, yeah, did you cram all those events into 1 year? That's the perfect I hope that's the perfect explanation for 2020. I hope the rest of this is just a breeze, but I know it's not gonna be.
We'll see. I don't want to comment. I don't want to jinx.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't wanna
it's
jinx
fucking,
anything.
It's horrible this year.
Okay, one thing I do want to jinx. I hope people don't try to say, "Oh, we're in the roaring 20s. Let's be crazy." I hope I jinx that.
I feel like we were already there with the 2010s.
Right?
It just wasn't the roaring 20. You didn't have anything to fucking label it with. It was
Right.
the perfect time to get into entertainment or technology and things like. It was amazing.
It was.
Yeah, this is our Great Depression and World War II, and no, I'm joking.
I was about to say World War II was after, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're mixing all of it together. This is
Yeah.
2020s.
We're just gonna shove it all into a bottle and see
This is our Into the Spider-Verse of hell.
Fuck.
Yeah. But I guess all right, I'm gonna try and trail back to the fucking the lesson I was trying to give us both. For me personally, I'm really insecure to start something new with my name.
Got it.
So for me, I've had this idea that I'm gonna go by something else. I don't know if it's gonna be like David Bowie-esque, where it's like, oh, there's Caden Taylor, and then there's Ziggy Stardust, or something.
Got it.
I don't think that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna be a rapper where it's like,
Okay.
I'm not gonna be anything different. I think
You want to do something that comes from you without your name labeled on the front.
yeah,
Is that-
I'm tired of like being whiny and have it be, oh yeah, that's Caden. Caden's
it.
being Caden right now.
Yeah.
I want to make something that's meaningful, and I want to start from ground zero again, where if it's good and it gets attention, it's from people that wanted to see that, and not like, oh, where's the fucking shitty stand-up. And actually, a lot of, if you were to go to my YouTube channel, I have 80 subscribers. A lot of that is I can't believe I'm admitting this. I used to make Bo Burnham covers of like the songs.
Oh.
Because I was how lost I was, and fucking
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was.
You were looking for inspiration.
Yeah, I was like,
anywhere and everywhere.
This will be a placeholder for when I make original songs. And I'm like, why are you making original songs? You don't know how to play the fucking piano. It's like,
That's kind of how I felt when it came to trying to make music, because I did try to make music. I was able to make like a couple of beats to songs, and I was able to make lyrics,
yeah,
but I couldn't make them for each other.
yeah,
Like I could, and even then, it's not like I could mix them around either, because someone even gave me that idea. I was like, I can't do that with them. Like, this beat does not fit with any of these lyrics.
I know.
Like, I could have a happy song, I could have a sad song lyrics. None of it fits. And I don't know if it's just like I can't get it to fit because my mind's not thinking correctly, or if I can't get it to fit just because those aren't meant to fit.
I know. And it's a lot of overthinking. You get so into your head that you just don't have fun anymore.
Yeah,
which is what happened with comedy for me. Is like
That's what happened with music for me.
Yeah, I know. I personally want to kind of get into music. I don't know how. I write a lot of lyrics, and I'm like, man, this would go great. And I can kind of sing, but I don't know yet. So I'm like,
Well, another thing, you still have yet to create a music voice.
right. Well, I technically did. Not only with the Bo Burnham covers, I did come out with an original comedy song. It sucked ass, and I will never release it again. I have one friend that's like, oh, I loved it. And I was like, then you don't know anything good, or you love me too much. It's like,
No,
I am so sorry. Yeah. One
Well,
thing.
you even said I'm so sorry about that whole YouTube sketch. But one thing I realized after talking with you is the only reason you say you're so sorry about it is because you got annoyed with it. So you kind of, every time you hear it, it's, it's that stage in my life where when we hear it, it's like, hey, look, it's a guy it's a kid our age on a stage doing comedy. It's not bad.
That's fair enough. Yeah, and I do say now, it's like, it's pretty cute for a 17-year-old to make something like that. It's like, oh, a kid is saying dirty words and being naughty. Like finger over mouth.
Right.
Like Baby Brent from fucking Cloudy the he said the F word and penis.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was like, I want to talk about myself, and then I was like, okay, what's funny about myself? I'm sad. Oh yeah, that was fucking hilarious. What else? I'm sad. Okay, okay, maybe we should take a break from myself, and we'll come back later. And like 3 years later, here I am going, yeah, I think I'm just sad.
Yeah, no, I just have a sad existence.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to say that on stage,
Yeah.
unless I can make that funny. I don't know how to make it funny yet, and I don't want to seek that yet.
Makes sense.
I want to write about myself a little bit, but I also want to just, I want to get better at whatever it is I'm writing. And the things that I'm writing now aren't really comedic. It might be a little, I hate to say it because it sounds stupid. I hate people that call themselves quirky, but it does kind of have a...
Okay, I don't know what people mean when they say quirky.
Do
they mean like
I think the
unique,
stereotype...
or...
I think the stereotype is like, you ever been on Snapchat and you see those kids? They're like, "Oh my God, stop being so fucking like a crackhead. You're so quirky." Like, you got that crackhead energy.
Oh, the crackhead energy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they're just doing something so mundane, and it's not even silly.
Like, you're just sitting there like, okay.
You're trying so hard to be silly.
Yeah.
And you're not quirky. You're just... Yeah.
Okay.
That, to me, is what... word usually associates...
Associates with?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
At least with kids of today. Which I guess is us, technically, but...
To an extent.
Young adults, kids, yeah.
To an extent.
To an extent.
Because there are a lot of younger people that I would not want to associate myself with.
Logan Paul.
He's older than me, and I'm with you.
Oh, I don't think I think he's past the kid point at this point.
Because
Thank fucking God.
Right. When does the kid point end? Is that 25?
I don't know. Peter Pan is the boy who never grew up. And that was the 40s, and he's still Peter Pan.
Peter Pan's also fictional.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think it ends... I feel like 26.
Okay, yeah, around there.
I feel like that's where it has to stop. Yeah, you can keep acting like a kid forever. Mm-hmm. But I think once people stop calling you a kid...
Is when you're done being a kid.
Yeah, and I think that's around 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always hear people go, "Oh, look at that kid," and it's like, kid? That dude's older than me.
I know. I heard iDubbbz criticize... Was it Jake Paul? Maybe it was Rice Gum.
It was Rice Gum. We called him Asian Jake Paul.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, that's right. See, that's 3 years ago now, too. Fuck.
What?
Yeah, that's 3 years ago.
Oh my God. I watched that 3 years ago?
That's the last Content Cop as well. The last one so far. He said he's going to make another, but...
Hasn't yet.
Who knows?
Well, especially with COVID.
Yeah.
That's going to make it a little harder.
Yeah.
Especially when you want to... Like, his intro for Content Cop is him driving... Like, walking around dressed as a cop.
Oh, I miss that song, too, though. What we do here is go... maybe that...
Oh, what we do here is go... Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to sing it, just in case. I don't know if it's royalty-free or not.
Be. Yeah, you're right.
What was I going to say? Point is... Avatar's good.
Avatar's good. Whole point of the podcast. Now let's bring this to a wrap. I think an hour and a half is long enough.
I think so too.
So still have yet to figure out how I'm gonna do the endings. I don't know if I want to do a quote, if I want to do a nice little speech, if I just want to say adios. So how would you like to end this? We're gonna do this based on the guest until I figure something out.
Bye.
See ya. See ya. Alright, everyone have a good night. I don't know what to say, otherwise I'd say more. I mean, I had a speech in my last one, and probably the one before, I can't remember. But I'll think of something later. Have a nice one.